Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prashatya Desha Tarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 24, the renunciation of Kardama Muni, text 12. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Brahmovacha Tvaya me pachitistata Kalpita nirvyalikataha Yanme sanjagre vakyam Bhavan manada manayan Brahmovacha Tvayame pachitistata Kalpita nirvyalikataha Yanme sanjagrihe vakyam Bhavan manada manayan Brahmovacha Tvayame pachitistata Kalpita nirvyalikataha Yanme sanjagrihe vakyam Bhavan manada manayan Brahma, Lord Brahma, Uvacha, said, Tvaya, by you, me, my, apachitihi, worship, Tata, O son, Kalpita is accomplished. Nirvyalikataha without duplicity. Yet since me, my, sanjagrihe have completely accepted. Vakyam instructions. Bhavan, you. Manada, O Kardama, one who offers honor to others. Seems like that's the meaning of Kardama. Like Dhamma is to give, and maybe Kar means honor. Well, it says, one who offers honor to others. Manayan, respecting. Lord Brahma said, my dear son Kardama, since you have completely accepted my instructions without duplicity, showing them proper respect, you have worshipped me properly. Whatever instructions you took from me, you have carried out, and thereby you have honored me. Purport. Lord Brahma, as the first living entity within the universe, is supposed to be the spiritual master of everyone. And is also the father, the creator of all beings. Kardama Muni is one of the Prajapatis, or creators of the living entities, and is also a son of Brahma. Brahma praises Kardama because he carried out the orders of the spiritual master in toto. This is Latin, means total in every respect, and without cheating. A conditioned soul in the material world has the disqualification of cheating. He has 4 disqualifications. He's sure to commit mistakes. He's sure to be illusioned. He's prone to cheat others, and his senses are imperfect. But if one carries out the order of the spiritual master by disciplic succession or the parampara system, he overcomes the 4 defects. Therefore, knowledge received from the bona fide spiritual master is not cheating. Any other knowledge which is manufactured by the conditioned soul is cheating only. Brahma knew well that Kardama Muni exactly carried out the instructions received from him, and that he actually honored his spiritual master. To honor the spiritual master means to carry out his instructions word for word. Brahmovacha tvaya me pachitistata kalpitanya realikataha yanme sanjagrihe vakyam bhavan manayan. Lord Brahma said, my dear son Kardama, since you have completely accepted my instructions without duplicity, showing them proper respect, you have worshipped me properly. Whatever instructions you took from me, you have carried out, and thereby you have honored me. Amagyanatimirandasya ganandana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya manobhishtam stapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kalamayam dadati swaparantikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Brishavanu Sutedevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we have a quote from the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 18. Prithu Maharaj milks the earth planet. He says the following: a foolish person who manufactures his own ways and means through mental speculation does not recognize the authority of the sages who lay down unimpeachable directions, and thus this person is simply unsuccessful again and again in his attempts. Now Prabhupada in the Prabhupada says the following: at the present moment, it has become fashionable to disobey the unimpeachable directions given by the acharyas and liberated souls of the past. Because sometimes people think from the past means it's outdated. We have to update the acharyas. Like, Windows. You get an update every few hours, practically speaking. Because they find, why do they update? It's a very interesting concept. Because they find some defect. Especially in Windows, they find sometimes a security breach or something like that. And then they very quickly do something, and then you have to update. Or they find something new, a better function, or improve an old function, and then you update. So now it has become a fashion to disobey means to ignore what is coming from the past acharyas, and you make, here it says you manufacture your own ways, which is very prominent. It's do it my way. Very famous song by Frank Sinatra. I do it my way. I really like this, I always use this. I don't know how many times I've quoted this Shastric injunction from our great Acharya Frank, the Acharya of the illusioned materialists, of these people here, who think through mental speculation, and not recognizing the authority of the sages, they can do things better. They're more smart. We are living in the 21st century after all. Look at these Kardama. He like a how you say, aborigine in the jungle, this matted hair. He doesn't have a suit, a 3-piece suit. He doesn't have a Rolex watch. He doesn't even know what a good car looks like, what to speak of driving it. He doesn't have a driver's license. He doesn't use internet. Well, he doesn't really need, because he has mystic powers. Anyway, but the idea is this is all past history, strange people, doesn't really have anything to do with our present life. So, it has become fashionable to do that. And presently people are so fallen that they cannot distinguish between a liberated soul and a conditioned soul. A conditioned soul is hampered by 4 defects, what Prabhupada also said today. He's sure to commit mistakes. He's sure to become illusioned. He has a tendency to cheat others, and his senses are imperfect. Consequently, we have to take direction from liberated persons. This Krishna consciousness movement directly receives instructions from the Supreme Personality of Godhead via persons who are strictly following his instructions. And now comes the important part. Although a follower may not be a liberated person, if he follows the Supreme Liberated Personality of Godhead, his actions are naturally liberated from the contamination of the material nature. That's why Prabhupada says here, we have to understand it correctly, if one carries out the order of the spiritual master by disciplic succession or the parampara system, he overcomes the 4 defects. In connection with spiritual knowledge, don't be fool, don't be fanatic, which means, he doesn't have any more imperfect senses, or he doesn't commit a mistake. Well, what about if he forgets a verse and he has to look it up in the scriptures, which happens even with Srila Prabhupada? He doesn't remember a verse. Does that now mean, that means imperfect, senses or whatever? Obviously we have imperfect senses. We can't see beyond the wall. If there's no light, we cannot see. They're imperfect. But this refers to spiritual knowledge. What we hear from authority, if you repeat it, then, there's no imperfect senses in the sense of the other one who uses his seeing power to analyze material nature, and his mind, his mental prowess to draw conclusions what he sees, and then, or they capture some waves, as we mentioned, coming from somewhere, who knows where, and then the conclusion is, must be from the Big Bang. Sounds very interesting, there's some waves we capture with our devices, and it must be the Big Bang. And then they propagate this as knowledge. That's not allowed. So, Lord Chaitanya therefore says, and look at this, by my order you become a spiritual master. One can immediately become a spiritual master by having full faith in the transcendental words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by following his instructions. Materialistic men are not interested in taking directions from a liberated person, but they are very much interested in their own concocted ideas, like some waves floating around, and they conclude it's from the Big Bang. My God.
What means bang?
Huh? It's waves, radio wave. It's like the residue. Since billions of years, these waves are coming, and they must be from the. It's so ridiculous. So they are much interested in this type, which makes them repeatedly fail in their attempts. Therefore, they're updating this theory also. If you look at the last, I don't know when they started to concoct this idea, maybe some 50 years ago or more. Since then, there have been all kinds of varieties of the Big Bang and the universe. Now it's the multiverse, and it may be this and maybe that. Now the latest tendency is of the younger scientists to reject the Big Bang. They say, no, this is, now they have a string theory. Now, if you look up string theory in Google, you get the Wikipedia page. If you try to understand this concoction, it's even worse than the Big Bang. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, from a simple person's point of view, of course, they will tell you because you don't know. This is a very sophisticated, it's only for highly advanced speculative brains. They can, understand these things, because you're all ignorant, therefore you don't understand. But if you look at the theory, it's a theory. And they do admit, it's just a theory. It may be, but we're not sure, of course, because there's no proof. You can't even see it. Anyway, it's exactly what is described here. So, but the entire world is now following the imperfect directions of conditioned souls, and therefore humanity is completely bewildered. It's exactly that what happens. They're completely bewildered. They don't know. And then some who are honest, they will then say, oh yeah, we don't really know. And those who are rascals, they make it look like it's a scientific fact. No doubt about it. This is the real thing. And everything else is just, and so-called sages who speak about, the soul and whatever. This is just, forget it. It's outdated. And therefore we don't recognize the authority of the sages, and we reject it. So if somebody is like that, then obviously no way to gain any real knowledge, and one continues to be bewildered in his life. So the opposite is what is described here. Brahma is very pleased with Kardama Muni. Because of this fact, he has accepted his instructions without duplicity, without speculation, with faith, and he has shown these instructions respect because he carries them out. He doesn't start to doubt them and think, well, maybe for you, but not for me. Or maybe 10 years ago or 100 years ago, but nowadays it's not anymore applicable, or whatever the mind tells you. No, he has proper respect and he worshipped. Therefore, Brahma says, with following the instructions, you actually have worshipped me. So, and because whatever instructions you took, you have carried out, and therefore you have honored me. So, as we know, Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasad, when the spiritual master is pleased, then Krishna is pleased. And we become advanced in spiritual knowledge. So, this is here, that's the subject matter, and Kardama Muni is very fortunate to have acted like that. And now he gets the blessings of his father, Brahma, his spiritual master, and we can do the same. We just have to follow. And the other important point is what we hear in this purport, that liberated or perfect refers to spiritual aspects, not to the material situation. The body is imperfect, what can you do? And you have to obey its calls, its laws. We're not liberated in that sense. There's some things one may, like walking on water and having cities, that's defying certain aspects of material nature, but ultimately you can't. You are under the laws of material nature in that sense. The body is under the laws, but one is liberated. Jivan Mukta, the example given of the dry coconut. You have heard this example before. Yeah, it's very good example actually, because when the coconut is whole, then inside we have this pulp. So the conditioned soul would mean it's still the pulp, and it's very much strongly connected to the shell. When you crack a coconut and you try to get out the pulp, it's not so easy. It's quite a task. And sometimes you can break a knife, even if it's a Chinese, useless knife. It will just, flip. So, now if you do this, you don't open the coconut and you let it dry, then by nature, the pulp disconnects from the shell. And you can then go like this, and it goes cluck, 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 cluck. So Jivan Mukta is like that. He may be within the body, but he's not connected like the fresh pulp, completely like one thing, very, very strongly connected to the shell. If one is in conditioned life and in Maya, you can say material consciousness, then that means very much identified, very close connection with the material body. And a liberated soul still is the same situation as in the body, will have to obey. If the body has to sleep, it has to sleep, although that is reduced to minimum. But calls of nature, you will have to answer. You can't just defy, say, well, from now on, I will never ever urinate anymore. Well, it's not possible. It's just impossible. So, but the Jivan Mukta, the liberated soul, doesn't identify. Krishna talks about this in Bhagavad Gita, that one may do all these things, but actually one observes the body is engaged in these activities and I have nothing to do with it. So that's real liberation, this type of consciousness. And this is achieved by following the supremely liberated personality of Godhead, ultimately. Whatever instructions we have, even the acharyas or the sages, even they don't manufacture their own way. What is where you judge whether somebody is a sadhu or a guru? I just heard a class from Prabhupada about this the other day. The judge is Shastra. If the guru is not in accordance with Shastra, he's not. If the sadhu is not in, then he's not a sadhu. They only become sadhu and guru if they are in line with Shastra. And Shastra means, like here, Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita is Shastra. Therefore, yes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when He speaks, there's no doubt, Dharmantu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. It comes from the top, it comes from the Supreme. That's perfect. And anybody who follows becomes perfect in that sense. And we can say, as soon as you don't follow, you become imperfect. Or you may be liberated as soon as you follow. As soon as you don't follow, you're not anymore liberated. That's why, you can be conditioned or unconditioned. Depends on you. You have the choice. So, but those who follow, they should be accepted as perfect. Or liberated. So that's all I wanted to say. Any questions or doubts about that? He's very quick.
How to always be Krishna conscious?
How to what?
Always be Krishna conscious.
Oh my God. Have you listened what I said? Just follow always the instructions given by the spiritual master and Krishna, and you're always Krishna conscious. As soon as we forget, then we're in Maya. It's like the example of the sunshine. As long as you face the sun, no shadow and no darkness. As soon as you turn around, and then you see your shadow and like that. So it depends on us how to be Krishna conscious. If we follow especially the sadhus, sadhu, shastra, guru, the three, satovrite, and Rupa Goswami explains, you do all that, then this is very favorable, and then you're always in the sun. Krishna Surya Sam Maya Hai Andakar. And Krishna is like the sun, Maya is like darkness. As soon as there's Krishna, then there's no darkness. So we remember Krishna's instructions, we hear about Krishna, we chant about His glories, we engage in His practical service, then you're always Krishna conscious. Even in sleep it's possible. Even while eating, it's not that you always have to chant with your tongue. You can, in these conditions, you are in your mind, in the subtle body. Subtle body doesn't really sleep. It's always active. Right? It's true. Yeah, you try your best. Don't worry, it will come. Just by following. That's exactly what is said here. If we follow, then we are liberated. Liberated means you're Krishna conscious. Directly or indirectly. Anything else? Yeah.
To be sensitive about the needs of other devotees and how to associate in a personal way.
Well, actually, Chanakya Pandit says something, or it's a common teaching. Don't do to anybody what you wouldn't like to, the way you wouldn't like. Yeah, it's exactly what he says. It's a very good advice. Why would you do something to somebody that you wouldn't like that somebody does to you? If you do that, then that's already a big part of it. I think maybe that's all you have to do. That's like the sensitive part, right? If you're sensitive what they do to you, you become very sensitive. You become immediately offended. Somebody has a wrong word. But you criticize like anything. And then when somebody gets upset, why are you upset, Then you, come on, as you don't want to be treated, don't treat others like that. And vice versa. What, you like, why don't you treat the person that way also? Yeah? You like this, anyway, so many things you would like that somebody may do for you, or like in a relationship, it's many times that's one of the problems. It's only a one-way street. It's the foolish husband, the so-called Vedic husband who thinks, the wife has to follow him, and he that's the only type of relationship. You do what I say, and if you don't, then, then we have nothing to talk to each other. But it's a two-way street, but then you have to protect, you have to maintain, you have to give a good example, you have to take care, and if you don't do that, you're just a rascal. That's all. So, it's not a one-way, a relationship is not a one-way street. So, devotees are persons, and Krishna is the same. Yeyatamam prapadyante, tangstatam bhajamyaham. It's a very logical, psychological, you can say, truth. In German they say, as you call into the forest, the echo comes back. Wie du in den Wald hineinrufst, so schallt es heraus. You make, then it comes back. If you go, then it comes back. No? You go to a mountain, you try that. The echo. What is the echo? It's a reflection of you, what you do. So a relationship is also like that. You punch me in the face, I'll punch you in the face. Well, of course, highly advanced, like Jesus, you said, you punch me in the face, punch me again. But you can't normally don't, no, it's not, Krishna even says, no, as you surrender unto me, I reciprocate. And he's more merciful. You don't do as you should, still I take care of you. But in general, it's like that. You surrender completely, I take care of you completely. You surrender 1%, I'll take care of 1%. Because you actually don't take care of completely. I don't want that. I want, my 99% independence. Okay, here you go.
Thank you very much for your answer, but also sometimes we have to respect the others more than us, because
that's the advanced stage. Trinarapi sunichena, and tarorapi sahishnuna. They may not treat you very well, but you still are very tolerant and treat them well. That's something else. We talk about the normal, the normal person. Then it's like Krishna says, as you do, I do. But if one is very advanced, then even that is not an issue. But try it. That's not so easy. And very difficult, actually. Yeah, just imagine, if you have a husband, and you always not treated well, and you just continue to treat him, it's very difficult. But very, very, very highly advanced ladies can do that. I don't know how they do it, but it's very unusual. But there are descriptions like that. Anyway, but generally and it's natural, and that nobody will criticize. If somebody mistreats you, you don't just stay and continue to be very nice, It's very, very difficult to do that. But it's another aspect, because Krishna sometimes may test us. He may take away everything, and we shouldn't reject him because of that. Tatenukampam suksamikshamano. When we suffer, then we should think, well, actually it's my fault. And we'll continue to offer obeisances to the Lord. Not, that the reaction is, why are you doing this to me? I'm devotee since so many years. I'm serving you 24 hours a day actually. And you're thanking me like that. Yes, sometimes people lose their faith because they think if God didn't reciprocate in the correct way, then he just doesn't exist. So, but to continue to be humble and tolerant and cooperative if the other party is not, very difficult. But if you can do it, that's a sign you're absolutely pure devotee and liberated soul. But, becoming angry, we see that even demigods become angry. Brahma becomes angry, Shiva becomes angry. So, it's not, something to be criticized. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became angry with Jagai and Madai. But then the general rule is, if you are the victim, you don't become angry. But if another devotee is being attacked, then you become like fire. So, try for that. The Trinadapi verse that's the formula, but it's very, very high level of consciousness. Question. We're still doing good.
According to the Parampara system.
Parampara system, yes.
It's so many advanced, very, very advanced gurus in our Parampara system, especially Srila Prabhupada. Can you say more from that?
What about it? What are you talking about? Well, they're all, I think we can say, as Prabhupada mentioned it so many times, they are strictly following. And that's the main qualification. Or as he says, he mentioned the other day, I think, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who says in Bhagavad Gita, and that's the verse, Yavaya Sayatmika Buddhir, Ekeha Kurunandana, that one should, take the instruction of the spiritual master as his life and soul. And actually Prabhupada did that when he came to America. Today we had this a little bit, in that quote, that I have a mission, and the mission comes from, I was asked to carry out this mission. And I take it very seriously. Therefore, even at the age of 70, when normally people just sit on park benches and watch the birds and feed the birds some, he goes on a journey to another part of the world, and we know that and all this. So why? Because, it's the order of my spiritual master. And one will do everything to carry it out. So that's the sign of somebody who is, a perfect member of the parampara. Just like Karlama. Whatever he says here, Brahma, this is the qualification. You have, accepted my instructions without duplicity. That's another possibility, not sincere disciple. Here's the instruction, and then he starts to spin it, as they say, typical American expression. You have some fact, you spin it, that makes you make it look differently. It's a real rascal thing, but politicians do it all the time. Something is not very convenient for the government, or for some some big company. Something comes out, and then they spin it. Spinning, you turn it around and you make it look a different way, and then people believe what you spin. But the truth is something else. So the instruction is very clear, but you spin it, and you make it look differently, or you interpret it, or you give it some other meaning, and so that's insincerity, because you don't like it. You don't like the instruction, but you want to appear like if you would follow it. So you spin it, or you, whatever. So that's not good. But here, that's duplicity. So Brahma praises Kardama Muni, saying, you have completely, in toto, Prabhupada uses that word, it sometimes uses these Latin expressions, toto. Without, yes, completely. Without leaving out maybe some part which I don't like, or adding something which I like. That's not allowed. So, toto, without changing it, you accept it completely, without this duplicity, and in this way you have worshipped me, you have honored me, you have respected me. So if somebody does that to his superior, to his spiritual master, then he becomes a perfect member of the Guru Parampara. Yes, now it's your turn.
There is a quote in Prabhupada books, I forgot, I think it's Bhagavatam.
We can find it if you have the correct quote. Without spin,
He's speaking about the dealings between devotees, no duplicity and politics.
Yeah. Well, that's...
Relationship between devotees.
Okay.
Can you say something more?
Well, we can look it up. Maybe we find something. We'll probably find something. The database is good for this. So we put, let's see what happens. Duplicity on one side, then devotees. But maybe, that's only 37, so that looks good. We may be lucky here. Let's see.
There was no politics and duplicity.
Serve the Lord without duplicity, that we hear here. It sometimes comes even in the verses. Yes, this honest. The opposite of duplicity is honesty. And the Bhagavatam, of course, that is mentioned in the first canto in various places, satam. Nirmit saranam satam, and in the Srinvatam, Vidunoti surit satam. Krishna becomes the well-wisher, and he helps those who are satam, who are honest, without duplicity. Because duplicity means that you are not straightforward. You have some other agenda, you have some other motive, and you pretend, or pretender. That's another, word for that. So if one has no duplicity, then that's honesty. We don't like to deal with somebody who's not honest, isn't it? Yeah. Because you can say it's cheating. Duplicity is cheating. You're trying to exploit somebody, telling him something which is not a fact, to get something. Basically, that's what cheating is, I think. No? Like somebody wants to sell you a broken, computer, something, a broken smartphone, iPhone. Very cheap, only 5 livers, But I cannot show you now how it works and you believe it. So he has cheated you, you take the phone and it will never work. Oh my God, I was a fool, I didn't test it at the time. I believed his words. They can do it online because then you cannot test it. No, it's perfect condition, never used, here's the photograph, and this and that. And you believe it and you buy it. And then when it gets to you, it's broken, it doesn't even start to function. So then you were cheated. So that's, dishonest. The person was not saying, well, I'm sorry, the thing is broken, but if you know how to fix it, I'll sell it to you cheap. Sometimes they do. You say, yes, I have something, but it's broken. But then there may be somebody who said, oh, I don't care, it's broken, I know how to fix it, It's a good bargain. I can get it for practically nothing, When it's just a little detail, I can fix. It happens to me with harmoniums. I don't know how many harmoniums I've fixed in temples. It's just forgotten. Because there's some little thing and this sound is completely off. So it's useless because you can't play it. And then somebody may say, well, you can have it for 10 euros, although I paid 500. It's useless actually. And I say, oh, you are stupid, eh? Then also there's a little cheating on my part. I said, oh yeah, yes, sure, yes. I'll use the spare part. I use it for spare parts. Okay, I'll pay you 10. Actually, would you accept 5? Then I take the harmonium and I go, I just open it up, do a little here and there because I know what to fix. A perfect condition. So, anyways. So honesty, that's what is necessary, not a cheating mentality. That's not very good. Nobody likes it if it's done to you, but we always try to do it to somebody else because it's taking advantage, for your own benefit. Maybe small things or big things. If it's big things, it becomes a scandal. And it's criminal actually. If it's a small thing, you say, but then the relationship becomes damaged. Once you are cheated by somebody, even in relationships, then it's very difficult actually the Bhagavatam says it's not possible to completely restore it. And they compared the Bhagavatam to a broken pot. Once the trust by cheating is broken, you can fix it, and it will probably work, but you always will see the cracks. It's broken. You can't completely do it as it was before it was broken. There will be always some sign of the damage. So, yes, I forgive you. You've cheated me, with somebody else, but it will never be the same as before.
What about the politics?
Same thing. Politics means ultimately is cheating. Because you try to get something. And you do all kinds of things. You may ruin somebody's reputation. That's a very common strategy of the other opposite party. They will try to find some dirt. And because everybody has dirt, they're all conditioned souls. As soon as they find it, they will propagate it. All over the place. Big story, big scandal. And then people, we didn't know that. And they don't vote anymore. Now we vote for the other one. And until they find the dirt of that guy, which is even worse, that's politics, it's one aspect, but it's, political mind, scheming. How can I get where I want to get? I want the top post. But there is somebody already. Now politics is how can I get him down? I can start to spread rumors. And that's another strategy because even I know it's a false rumor. As they say, every rumor, something sticks. Although it's proven later on, it was, we were mistaken, sorry, we made a mistake. It's not a mistake, you did it on purpose. And you said, we saw him, or somebody saw somebody that he was doing this and that. And then it's proved, sorry, it was a mistake. We retract what we said, but it sticks. Something sticks in the mind, So that's a very, they do it on purpose, knowing it's false, but still do it, because it will help us to bring down that, impeccable, glorious hero. No, he's not such a hero as you all think, We have seen him doing this and that. Oh, sorry, he wasn't him. We mistaken him for somebody else. But it sticks. A very devious mentality, politics. You try to damage somebody else to take the post, for example. That's politics. You want to be the president, but somebody else is. So then you start to talk to everybody else, you know really what he's like, And then maybe the support will go away from that person. Then voices come up, well, actually you should step down. And we have another candidate, and the other one, oh no, not me. But he's just waiting, and then of course, take the post. It's politics, scheming. And what is it called? There's a Sanskrit word, and I've just forgotten now. Kutiniti. It's diplomacy. It's another way of talking politics. Diplomacy. You have a smiling face, and you think of how to murder it. It's another cheating. There was this, you don't know him, I still remember, Gromyko. He was you may have heard his name because he was a foreign minister of the Soviet Union for decades. He started quite young and until very old. And he was a foreign minister, always speaking to the America and other countries. And somebody described him as somebody who has a very beautiful smile, always smiling at you, but behind the smile are iron teeth. As soon as you don't know it, you turn around, he will, and you're finished. The diplomats are like that. How to move and how to make you feel welcome and everything is very good. And as soon as they see some weakness, bang! They take advantage. We are over time.
Wow.
Is it important? No.
Short question.
Oh, these are the most dangerous ones. Let's hear it. Then we'll see whether he will answer or not.
What happens with persons who are making publicity in duplicity? What happens with this person?
What happens to the person? Oh, I think if we look at the fifth canto, there's some hell, No, true. Yes. There's some hell, So we'll find out. Then we'll.
In the top of the very, very big mountain.
Aha.
They falling
on this shishuni tree, some silk cotton tree, right? And be ripped. So dangerous position.
Very big mountain was
1,000
miles.
That's right. So here you have it. Not a good idea. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.